Hi! Oh my gosh, it's late. Welcome back, you guys, for another Blue Twin Flame podcast. Okay, so let me just start by saying that this episode is not black and white. Okay, it's a little gray. It's a little gray area. Okay. Because today we are talking about the Blue Twin Flame and sex. Yes, I said it, sex. Okay? So let's get into it. Before I start, let me start by putting my theory out there. So, my theory. I need to memorize this because I say it every day, every episode. But, the journey to finding the Blue Twin Flame isn't about finding someone else. It's about becoming consciously aware of your masculine and feminine vibes, or feminine energies, creating this alignment that leads to synchronicities and a deeper understanding of yourself and the world around you. And it's this heightened awareness that acts as the core of what makes the Blue Twin Flame connection special. All right. So as always, we're going to relate that to what the topic is, and the topic today is sex. So we're going to get into it, okay? But before I do, let's bring on my plus one. All right. All right, and then we're going to flip you over, and now we can get started. All right, so welcome everyone. Today is going to be I don't know if this is going to be a short message or a long one, but today's what episode are we on? Oh, we're on episode 15 already. We're going to talk about sex, okay? Sex and the Blue Twin Flame journey. So this is my theory and what I've come up with. But like I said, today's episode is not black and white, okay? We're going to touch on some gray areas, all right? This may relate to you. It may not relate to you. But this is my perspective. So we're just going to get into it, okay? Okay. So let's start by saying, as always, we're all made up of energy, okay? Masculine, feminine energy. Masculine energy is the thought. When you have an idea, that's an example of your masculine energy. When you execute that idea and create, that's an example of your feminine energy, okay? So masculine energy is the thought, feminine energy is creation. Everything on this three-dimensional plane is feminine energy. It was all created. I was created. You was created. The phone you're watching me on created. The internet you're using to watch me on was all created. Okay, so we all embody our feminine energy. We all came from a thought. We all embody masculine energy. You know, we're all thinking. You know, so when it comes to sex, um, sex is a form of creation. But if we're all energy and the twin flame journey, the Blue Twin Flame journey, because it's a connection with your connection with the non-physical and the physical. It's these energies. So, okay, because it's like so many layers to break this down to. Okay, before I continue, let me just state the fundamentals. Okay, one, sex can get broken down into creation and pleasure. Okay. I am stating this solely from a pleasure standpoint because I have not had sex with a female. So I'm only given this perspective from my perspective, okay, and what I've accumulated during sex. So if if you feel differently about this, because you've had heterosexual relations, okay, I would love to hear your theories. Comment down below. Um, if you've had sex with a female, and this is not talking about also procreating. Okay, so if your intentions on having sex is to procreate, then that's your intentions on having sex. Okay, but because of pleasure, and then there's also subcategories as in like rape and stuff, which I'm not talking about, but that's not for pleasure. Well, it's not for one person's pleasure, but that's a different category, which I'm not getting into. So I'm talking mainly from my perspective, which is, I guess, male on male, I guess. But I'm speaking in sex in general, though, okay? So let me just start by putting those disclaimers out there. I've not had sex with a female, so I do not know if ghosts are gay. I know that. But I do not know if my theory changes based off of that. But based off of that, sex with a female is for procreation, okay? If that's what you choose. So I'm just stating that out there. Okay. Now, as we're related to this, though, the twin flame, the blue twin flame. So when you're young, and thanks to society places sex in a lot of things. You know, the music we listen to, the movies and shows that we watch, you know, they even sex sales. We know that, you know, so they're they found a way. When I say they, society, mainstream, they found a way to appeal to our sexual desires, and then they're using that because it's all energy. Sex is an energy. They're exploiting that to get you to purchase or watch or place your attention on that. So you're placing focus on sex. Um, and then we're forgetting what it's used for, or its capabilities. Okay. With that being said, if the blue twin flame connection is you connecting with the non-physical aspects, okay, to E, all the above. You can feel A through D whatever you want. So if we're going to fill it with sex for now, or at least because of my connection with E, all the above, I can recognize the connection with E, all the above, in someone else. You know, you can say God, the universe. And that connection that you're having, like I've said in other videos, like I am in your energetic field. So right now we are synchronized. We are one because you're watching me. At the time that you're watching me, and I'm talking to you. So our energies are together. Okay. But we're not physically together. Now, what's closer than this? Intercourse. Like when one person is not only on a physical level, you're actually penetrating the other person, causing not just pleasure, but you're becoming one because you're literally entering someone, or someone's entering you. And when you enter something, that's, you know, it's an intersection. It's when things become one. So physically, you're becoming one. But also, where do you go mentally when you have sex? You know, so like any ritual or opportunity for you to focus your attention on one thing and drown out the rest of the world, you're left with your thoughts. You're left with your masculine energy. Your feminine energy is being pleasured because, again, feminine energy is this physical consciousness, or is this 3D, this three-dimensional world. That's your feminine energy. So the feminine energy is being pleasured, and then through this one act, like if you meditate, you're meditating by yourself, um, but you're able to drown out the other distractions of the world and just solely focus on, what's in here. But sex is like another meditative practice, because you're placing your focus on one thing, penetrating or being penetrated. But then your mind goes somewhere too. And again, if your thoughts is your masculine energy, and the physical 3D plane is your feminine energy, then sex is another way of your mind and your physical energy intertwining, coming at an intersection, because your thoughts are focused. You're doing something. I mean, just like anything else that you place focus on, you're placing focus on this. You're placing focus on that. And this is because this is a theory. This is something I'm still like testing out. So much focus is placed on marriage and being in a relationship, like that's what we feel like we should do. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it, because when you start breaking things down on an energetic level, you want to share yourself with someone on that level, but you don't want to some people, and I'm not speaking for everyone, I'm just saying in general, you might not want to share yourself with everyone on that level. So that's when, because again, we're still all human, so the human thing, pleasure is a human thing. It's just something we go through, whether it's drawing a picture, whether it's working out, having sex. Those are things that bring people pleasure. Also to procreate, that's another reason we have sex. So instead of sharing this energy with everyone, ideally, some people want to limit who we have sex with, because that's still something that is a pleasure that people still want to indulge in. So if this twin flame journey is you building a connection with the non-physical, but you want to share that connection with someone else, then you can find someone, a soulmate, or someone, or it could be a few people. I mean, it could be whoever you want, honestly, but you want to share that connection with someone else. So you get into a relationship so you can, or just not even a relationship, but an agreement, I should say. You get into an agreement with someone that you can share this connection with. But due to government standards, but also how we place permanence, like I've said before, what if every person you've ever dated is the same person, but you're just upgrading? What if, like, what if sex is the same way? Like, you're having sex with the same person, but it's a different entity. It's the same entity in different bodies. Because I know myself, and I can recognize myself in the next person, but that is still a reflection. You know, you're still reflecting. It's like like another person is like a mirror of you that this goes back to the soulmate video. So blue twin flame versus soulmate, go check that out. I'm gonna try to remember to link it below or link it at the end of this video. But in this theory, everything that you like, everything that's in your energetic field is your universe. Whether it's me talking to you on this phone right now, or the other person that you're having sex right now, or not right now, but like a person ideally you're having sex with, it's still E, all the above. And that's what this blue twin flame journey is building that relationship with E, all the above. So you're able to explore more if you isolate who you share yourself with, or limit who you share yourself with. Now, that doesn't mean there aren't exceptions. E, all the above, you know, the one exception. There's always an exception. But, and it also doesn't mean that, like, you know, there's sex workers. There's the reason there's sex workers, because when you're operating in that sense, those people can remove how they view sex. And the reason they're able to do that, they're tapping into some energies where they're able to do that. In opposed to certain people who feel like sex should just be with one person. You know, it's not sex before marriage. And in certain instances, yeah, sure. You know, like they say don't have sex before marriage because so you don't have kids outside of wedlock. Okay, but like, how does that apply to me? Like, I'm not having kids outside of wedlock, you know, anytime soon. So it's like, so there's that gray area that I'm speaking of, you know. So it's like, you know, what is, you know, how does that apply to everyone? You know, even when it comes to sex workers, they're able to, and I feel like, I mean, it's all taboo. Even what I'm saying is taboo. So, you know, take it how it resonates at the end of the day. You know, comment down below. How do you feel? What do you think? But again, in this blue twin flame journey, and you're building this connection with E, all the above. And if you're watching my videos and then you're picking up on what I'm saying, it's the fact of like E, all the above is everywhere. You know what I'm saying? It's not just you. It's just the physical aspect of you, because you have your mental aspect and then you have the physical aspect, and you're observing this. You know, you can have sex and then your mind goes somewhere else. Especially in sex is a ritual. You're doing an action repeatedly where you're able to mentally, physically go places that you can't do by yourself. But then that's where toys come in, because you can do it by yourself. And it's not the same, but it's kind of the same. It can be the same. It's still a meditative state, and you're still getting to know your body, but not just your physical body, but you're also getting to know your universal body. Okay, because it's not, again, it's not, your body isn't just you, it's your universe. And when you explore certain things, certain taboos, like sex, and you're getting to know your universal body, this plane that you're getting into, you get to know your partner, what they like, what you guys like together. You can incorporate different things, toys, you can incorporate food, smells, lights, like it can be explored. But the same way you can explore sex, you can explore any other thing. You can incorporate smell, touch, taste into any other thing that you do too as well. But the thing that makes sex so dangerous, not dangerous, but like it can be addictive, just like any other addiction, like drinking, smoking, drugs, um, all of that, if left unchecked, untamed, can lead you, down a rabbit hole, because sex in general releases these endorphins that make you feel good. Make it's your pleasure. You're seeking pleasure. That's just like with any other addiction, food, drinking. All those are other addictions, and if left unchecked, do I have an episode about addictions? I do. Okay, so addictions is coming up. It's like a few weeks away, but so I'm gonna limit this when we're talking about addictions. But if left unchecked, it can be, um, it can consume you if you let it, because it feels good. Everyone wants to feel good, but it's another aspect that can be conquered, and I'm gonna talk more about that in the addictions episode. But and it's not something that conquered. Like it's something to experience and then move on. You can experience it, and there's nothing wrong with experiencing it. But like everything else in this world, there comes a time and a place, for the experience to run its course. It was fun, and then you keep on going because you've experienced it. Do you need to experience it again and again and again and again and again and again and again? That's up to you to decide. But do you need to? You know, and if that's what you choose to do, hey, that's what you choose to do. There's nothing wrong with it unless it's left unchecked. Um, but it's still getting to know your physical body. Okay, this universe of yours. Excuse me, burp for confirmation. Um, Also, I know I've read there's like sexual energy. Um, is creative energy. So there's a lot of theories out there, or at least proven facts. I guess there's proven, but when you hold on to your sexual energy and you don't actually climax or release, it's the buildup. But then you can channel that energy into something else more creative. That's another reason why if left unchecked, sex can get out of control, because you can be spending that energy elsewhere. You don't have to, that same drive that you get for sex, that to want to have sex, to want to indulge in sex, you can put that same drive into being creative. You can paint a picture, you can create a song that can benefit someone else, that can benefit you. You can make money off that piece of art. You can still have sex, and that's where sex workers come in, and they're using that energy in a different form. I was just listening to someone, a friend of mine, and someone played a prank on her, and which is not funny. And I mean, pranks are supposed to be pranks, but at this point, this prank just went longer than it was supposed to. And her thing, well, one of the things she said was, and I was thinking it too, the fact that, and it didn't even record the prank. Like, you just out here pranking. At least if you're going to like prank somebody, record the prank, make money off of it, and making money off of it. Okay, you can make money off the prank. And I'm applying that analogy to sex, because I'm not saying make money off sex, but I'm just saying you can be spending your time more productively aside from just having sex. But we are in a day and age where some people are making profit off of sex. But monetizing something has its own, hold on. Monetization. Ooh. Okay, sorry, I'm back. I'm going to do an episode on monetization. I think that's a good episode too, because at what point are you exploiting these energies that you're working with? Aside from getting to know you, getting to know what you like, you know, at what point are you doing this beyond pleasure? Beyond what the hell? Like, am I okay? So yeah, so monetization is going to be a different category, a different episode. Sorry. But when you decide to monetize your sex life, yeah, that just opens up a different door, a different category. Something I'm not getting into right now. So let's, pull the reins back. But so yeah, so I think that's why they're that getting married is prioritized. One, it's married people, comment down below, because I'm also not married, but I heard the stories, not the stories, but like I genuinely feel like being married is something the government is implementing or wants to implement to control more control over you. I mean, they're the ones that's putting society is putting sex out there. Sex sales, we know this. So what other way to make money than that? Like, we're already making money off sex, and then we're gonna idolize being in a relationship, being married, and then we're gonna charge you for being married. And from what I hear like it's easier to get married than it is to it's easier to get married than it is to get a divorce. It's cheaper to get married than it is to get a divorce. And who's right there to get a chunk of the change? Uncle Sam. Like, the government is right there collecting funds from all of it. For why? And that's why, like, sometimes being gay, that's why we're hated, because it's a blessing, because like it opens your eyes to a different way of looking, and then you're not forced into society's standards. Like, how many relationships have people been forced into that didn't work out? But the universe works how it's supposed to, but through evolution, times change, and we're able to see and we're able to share different things, just like I'm sharing this theory with you all, and I'm hoping you all share, what you think with me. But if it's all a ploy to get money from you, or the government is putting in your pockets, like, just think of how much has changed in the last 100 years. Like, humans been around for thousands of years. The universe has been around for billions of years, and think of how much society has changed in just the last 100 years. So we don't got it all figured out, so, like, who's to say I'm wrong? Who's to say I'm right? We just out here living our best life, Ooh, who's to say I'm wrong? Who's to say I'm right? We just out here living our best life. I like that. I'm a coin. Okay, monetized. Anyway, so, like, ideally, you want to share yourself and open yourself up with someone, but that's probably why they say wait to marriage, because assuming you marry someone that you want to get to know, and you've gotten to know them, and you get to the point where you want to share your life with them, and part of me feels like marriage is not just sharing your life with someone, but it gives you an opportunity to learn and appreciate other aspects of life. And that's getting to know yourself. Once you get to a point where you know yourself and you're comfortable with yourself, and then you meet someone who's also comfortable with themselves. And that's another thing too. When you're aligned and you get to now, things happen. I understand that everything happens for a reason. So some people slip up, have kids. Everything's not black and white. So okay, but when you reach these levels, let's just say that like everything that I'm saying right now, it's eye-opening to you, right? And let's say everyone knew this, like it was common knowledge that let's say everything that I'm saying right now is common knowledge, and everyone went on a journey of finding themselves first before they open themselves up sexually or physically with someone else. Once you find yourself and you connect yourself with this higher power, this energy, all the above, whether it's God, the Most High, Yeshua, Jesus, whatever Buddha, whatever you resonate with, you establish that connection with that energy that's outside of you, that's greater than you. Then the next person, or not the next person, literally the next person, but like the person you're supposed to be with will naturally come. But so many people, we do things out of order. Like you might meet someone today, go have sex with them for the first time, and now you got a kid with someone you don't know. You have kids with people you barely know. Some people have families, they known each other since high school. I was just seeing a post the other day. There's people, a couple I went to high school with. They've been together literally since high school. Shout out to you. If you're watching, Shamika, Thomas, hey, but I'm pretty sure by the time they had a family, and it's not just them, anyone who's in a relationship or has a family, I'm hoping that the person that you're having a family with. They've known each other since high school. So, but knowing yourself is still ever evolving. We're ever evolving. We're not the same people that we were in high school. So you're still getting to know them. And you want to share that with someone else. But ideally, would you not want to do that from a standpoint of knowing yourself first before you decide to open up with someone else? But at the same time, the people who you do meet are part of your evolution growth, or your evolution and or growth. Watching this video is a part of your growth. Me recording this video is a part of my growth. I'm growing just by listening to what I'm saying. When I go back and watch this, I'm going to grow some more, So it's all growth for your humanity, for humanity's sake. It's just all growth. And with this theory, every person that who you interact with, whether it's physically, mentally, spiritually, everything you're interacting with for a reason. It's all a puzzle, or a piece of a puzzle that forms your life, that's eventually making the life of everyone who you're encountering. We're all a part of our own lives, or the grand scheme of life. We all make up this universe, and it can get daunting sometimes. It can get stressful. It can be a lot when you start thinking about other people. So that's why you bring it back and just focus on your universe, But in theory, if everyone that you meet, like, it's just your connection with all the above. So it's bettering you to be a better person. And that's where these connections are coming in. And then maybe, you get to a certain point where these connections, where you're no longer placing priority over sex. Eventually you just get older, and then you start realizing there's other joys, there's other pleasures. And you got that out your system. So then you can go, settle down. And then after you settle down, eventually you might want to procreate. And that's where sex will come back around. But it's now, once you found yourself and discovered yourself and worked with yourself and got to know yourself, got to know these energies, you know, got to know your thoughts, got to know your physical body, your universe, you know, what's coming into your universe. If this type of person is if you keep meeting shitty people, you're not learning the lesson that you need to learn, and you keep getting the same shitty people. But once you learn that lesson to not mess with those shitty people will stop coming in. So then the person who's meant to come in can now come in because you've gotten rid of the shitty people. Instead of settling down for the first shitty person that you see or that you meet because you think that's what you're supposed to do, because now society has told us, oh, I gotta be with this person. Now we got kids, and now, you know, the cycle continues because now you have kids and you're bringing kids into this world that you're not solving or dealing with what you're supposed to deal with, what that person was meant to deal with, you know. So it's all quite the conundrum when you think about it. So try not to think about it too much, but let me know what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? You know, again, this is just from my standpoint. Well, all of it is, we know that. That's why we're watching it, you know. But yeah, but like, I don't know. I'm just coming to a point where it's like, even like being gay, like, it's all energy, okay? And you want pride and you want to be represented. But like, if I don't have sex, let's just say I've grown to a point where I don't want to have sex anymore. I'm not saying I'm there, but if I do get to that point, and if I'm getting pushed to that point, am I still gay? Do I still identify as being gay? If I don't have sex anymore, if I'm celibate for the rest of my life, you know, are you still, you know, I don't, is it a mental thing? But even just thinking about that, it's still societal standards to be classified in a box when we're just all human, living a human experience, okay? And how you humanize, demonize, however you live your life, that's how you live your life, okay? And this is how I live mine. I'm just figuring out how, what, you know, yeah. But let's just give thanks right now before I go to E, all the above. You can fill A through D with whatever you want. But thank you for this clarity. Thank you for the opportunity to share with you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Okay. Just so appreciative. Coming back here and doing this every week, it's just grounding. Because, let me tell you, these addictions be addicting. And you want to continue, but then like life is just like, hang it up, flat screen. Like, there's better things out there. That's why sex is cool. It's fun. But at the end of the day, it's quick pleasures, minimal pleasures. You know, like a climax lasts 30 seconds, but you can put that energy into something that's so far better. You know, even communicating, talking to this brings me joy. You know, being able to get to a point where I feel comfortable enough, burp for confirmation, to talk to you guys every week, to talk to you every week, to love you every week. You know, this is a long-term joy. Like, I don't get this from random sex partners. You know what I'm saying? Like, here and there, they're gone here today, gone tomorrow, and not even that long. It's like here 1 minute, gone the next. You know, so it's like, no one wants to keep going through that, and eventually, you know, you get tired of that because you want to evolve and grow with someone else. You want to share yourself, you know, with someone else. And like a lot of that though is societal standards, like feeling like you want to share yourself with someone else. Like, when actuality, you can share yourself with yourself. You don't have to have someone else. Now, if you had the pleasure of having someone else, that's just a different experience that you can experience. And that's lovely. That's great for you. I love that for you. You know, um, but there's a lot of people that's alone, and nothing is permanent. So even if you get into a relationship, there's always divorce, there's death, someone goes, you know what I'm saying? So like nothing is permanent. So get to know yourself and these energies. Like get to know them because it makes life a lot better because you're not focused on just one aspect, because there's so many aspects of life, there's so many perspectives of life, and this is just my perspective. Okay, also before I go, let's just take a breath. Okay, all day long we breathe unconsciously for ourselves, but very seldomly do we stop and breathe for someone else. So I like to take a moment just to breathe for someone else who's either no longer here, who's not thinking of you, who an old sex partner, you know. Shout out to the people you remember having sex with who don't remember you. That's funny. But we're gonna inhale and exhale. All right. All right. And now it's time for so long. But I'll sing just one more song. Thanks for doing your part. You show are smart, with me and you and my boy BluE. And you can do anything that you want to do. I love you. I love me. I love us. I love we. And I will talk to you guys in another episode. See you next week. Bye.